No, I mean, that's my grounding in the foundation. I think the culture in England from the football component is deep, it's enrooted, it's all these boundaries of loyalty and fandom that it's hard to encapture where we find ourselves on the States right now. So being brought up in that environment, that's all you know. Anyone knows the Newcastle area, we're very much a team and a community that's built on blue-collar hard work ethic. Back from the mining days, my grandfathers would be down the mines, farming, shipbuilding. It's a very strong blue-collar environment that we come from. We live for our weekends. The weekends is our black and white team, how they do, and also for the weekend party culture, which is quite synonymous with Newcastle as well. So these things intertwined. I brought the first elements, the blue collar, the respect of the game, the love for the game, and just keeping that at the forefront. We're all going to have good and bad days, but if we can also just continually work, I think that's part of our mantra at Longwood is to be the hardest working team on the field. Quick dive back into my past is I was like any aspiring footballer back in England, just trying to be the pro, and I was knocking on the door many times, playing at decent level, signed a contract, got returned to the semi-pro levels, and then one fortunate moment I snapped my leg, and that really slowed me down, realizing it's hard to make a good living with a gimp leg. So just at that time I was contacting a friend of mine who was out here in the States, and it was that curiosity. We're going back in '98 now, and he invited me out here and become a graduate assistant. So I jumped into that with the idea of coaching a team, giving my knowledge, and potentially, rehabbing and playing. Now the rehabbing would only get me so far, but the playing and then evolving into coaching seemed to be more seamless. So I was kind of thrust into it. Being a grad guy, working along the head coach at West Virginia Wesleyan, it was a kind of a best of both worlds. Obviously, playing is the ultimate goal, but that wasn't going to happen. So now being involved with the team and still being mobile enough to get out there and train with the guys was something that I enjoyed. I came over to the States in '99 from obviously talking about the career-ender injury and being able to transplant to a GA in West Virginia Wesleyan. So I went from Newcastle to West Virginia. It was a small town, not unlike Farmville, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the connection, I enjoyed the story of Wesleyan, and it was my time to look for something else upon graduation. Now I was lucky enough to meet my wife, who is the basketball coach up at Wesleyan.
When we met, we were all in our mid-20s, a group of us at West Virginia Wesleyan. There was like a cohort of us, and we would play noon ball, and that's kind of where John and my relationship started to develop as friends. He was definitely a soccer player trying to play basketball. It was horrible. I shouldn't say that. John's the type of person that if he picks up anything, it drives you crazy. Anything he wants to do, he does well. That's the type of man he is. Yeah, so I think our love grew because of sports.
You're spending so much time together, and every day it's a passion of what we do, and hopefully that's reciprocated from the players, that they love the game through the highs and lows. Being able to connect to the players and just be able to reach down as a deeper level just allows that synergy to happen. Every day being able to spend time with each other, it's important that you learn to grow and peel back the onion layers to get to know the person from a holistic standpoint. It's something very dear to me. I value friendships, relationships, and we will incorporate that into our program every day of guys getting to know each other and spending time together.
John is very relationship oriented. That's kind of his nature: service, relationship, caring for others. So that's a big piece. I think if you took that away, he wouldn't enjoy the sport as much as he does. So absolutely, I do think that his relationship with his players and his staff would be one of the most rewarding things that he says he gets to do.
The main point of his discussion to me was, you're not always going to make the right decision. There's going to be many decisions in the game as well as in life, and you got to pick one and stick with it. So while the past may not have worked out, that was the option you took, and you didn't think to make the other two options, which is fine. You know, you're not going to be perfect in soccer, you're not going to be perfect in life, so you got to take everything with a grain of salt and keep moving forward. And it's okay to, you know, not be okay with certain things, but you got to keep pushing forward and not worry too much about your mistakes.
I think Coach, especially off the field, he praises it. You're always wearing the Longwood colors, you're always wearing the badge, and I think it's just, he really wants us to represent the program well, be a good character guy in the classroom, off the field, just in daily life. And I think he really has helped step up, just lead a way and help me on the field, but also off the field, and just trying to be the best person I can be.
I think we have to be humble, not get too ahead of ourselves. End of the day, we are playing a game, an entertainment game. We want to enjoy the journey with one another. So I think there's a sense of community and family that I found very synonymous with Longwood. You know, we're a family community as a school, and we see that with our teams at Longwood as well. And we stitch that into our guys all the time. We want to enjoy our time, and if the that you do worth doing, it better be worth doing. You know, I think the guys that subscribe to be part of this program get a sense of that. They love the game, but more so, we want guys that just will stitch into every fabric of what it takes to be a Lancer. So while, you know, you've been around to a point where soccer's become quite the cultural thing, you know, I've been around where soccer wasn't necessarily a big importance in American culture, but now it's one of the fastest growing sports, and especially in the youth level. So I think with them aspects, we've got a long ways to go, and you can't catch up experience, but investing in the game and having, you know, the good coaches is certainly going to help enrich and make that quality gap that you do find a little bit more refined in the European, South American models currently right now.
I think it's a bit different. I think he has adjusted a little bit to the U.S. soccer playing. He's lived over here long enough, but I think he brings the flair and just the attitude and the determination over from, especially in Europe. And I think I saw it when I lived over there in Belgium for 3 years. It's just a way of life, as he said, and it's just completely different how Americans see it and how Europeans see it. But I think he adapts well, especially to the Division I style. You know, it's a hard attitude and hard with life, but he does well and adjusts well to the Division I style.
Definitely. I mean, I don't watch Newcastle myself, but I've seen them every now and then, and I can see like, oh, we practiced that, coaches talked about that, so.
His coaching style, I think he can be hard at some times, but most times he wants to give us all the keys and all the directions at first, give us a platform, a little like information on what's going to go on, and then he really lets us dictate and lets us do it on the practice field and in games. And then when he sees times he has to correct something or fix it or give us a little bit of information, he will. But just in general, he really gives it to us, and then, you know, if he gets upset or anything, he will fix it or want us to fix it. But he really gives us the keys to let us run the train pretty much.
You can't fake work, it'll be found out. You can't fake your ability levels, it'll get found out. I think the growth from Division 2, Division 1, and the expectation starts growing with each year, from our inaugural start to Division 1, to conference affiliation, to understanding, to funding, to growth within the department. Overall, Longwood is a family home, from not just the athletic department, but the school itself espouses just that connectivity. So our friends and connections far beyond the athletic department, I enjoy them. I like to spend time with them. It's important to me, it's important to part of my day that I am able to relax and plug in. It certainly, the soccer and the coaching and the job that I do entails a lot of work, but there's also time to regale and enjoy what Farmville has to offer. Longwood's a big part of the blueprint of Farmville, So just having that itself allows me to coach for 20 years.
I'd say caring, driven, and definitely a leading character in just everything in daily life. You can look up to him, helps you out as a mentor, but also on the field. He's a great coach, but obviously he's a great guy too. Everything that young men that we should need to drive and help us in daily life, he'll be there to help you out.
Easygoing, fun-loving guy. I mean, you come to practice and he'll be setting up Jobu and you say hi, it just lights up. He's like, hi, how are you? You ready for today? It's just always, you get there and he just makes you happy or excited to be there.
But the character person for me is everything. That's what we recruit. It's easy to see videos and highlights, but what we need to find out is the person behind the video highlights. You're going to get some friction. You're going to get some friction player to player, player to coach, coach to player. It's how we handle that with the respect and integrity that's going to define us. It's not the size of the hurdle, it's how we overcome that. So we're not creating environments to avoid conflict. I think these are just things that have to happen. But if you have good character, that allows you to override and allow the talent to prevail.
It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again. Because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.